Hey guys, so today I wanted to just make a quick video. I guess you could say I had a download that came through while I was working on some stuff and really was just contemplating the overall energy that's going on right now in the world. And right now, as I'm recording this, we've got the moon in Aries. And really, with that Aries moon, I've been seeing news stories that are definitely reflecting that. Now, of course, we're going to get that once every 28-day period for, a couple days. But like I said, I had this download that came through. And one of the things that I've been talking about lately on this channel is uh, really that there's a new energy that's been here since earlier in the year. And it has a lot to do with what I'm calling the great conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, the world point. But with that, Saturn is really ruling the material and the structures, of course, among other things. And Neptune is more of the immaterial. It's the dissolver, and it's also, I guess you could say, fantasy, delusion, the dream world, that kind of stuff. And with them separating, as they've been separating more and more, we've really been seeing the structures in our society have been dissolving. And it just feels like we're coming up on this point where in the world, we're going to have the material come through of what structures have really dissolved and what we can't depend on anymore. I think a lot of this will have to do with Chiron moving into Taurus soon here. Uh, but also, there are, well, I should say this first. There's this recurring dream that I've been having. And with this recurring dream, what it deals with is a, I guess you could say, news that comes out or information that comes out to the public. And I don't even know if I would necessarily say it's bad information. It's just maybe shocking. And this is where you can kind of throw Uranus in the mix. Uranus and Gemini, too. It literally rules shocking news. And we just had that fully move in to Gemini this year. Now it will be there for the next 7 years. Of course, we had a slight ingress last year before it retrograded back out. And then we even saw some stuff to go along with that. But then things cooled off. Actually, what we saw go along with that was the beginning of the Iran war. It was literally almost to the day with that. But anyway, I have this recurring dream of news coming out to the world, and then people not their psyche not being able to handle this news, and because of that, they actually, and like I said, this is recurring. They walk up to the tops of buildings and just walk off the building. No grandstanding of jumping off or anything like that, but almost in a zombie like haze, just walking off the building because they can't handle what this news is. It shocks everything about their reality. And then even with those placements I mentioned in Aries earlier, now the shocking part more of Uranus and all that, but then even the reality part of it, which is more Saturnian, dealing with this reality. And then there's that whole Neptune thing, the dissolution of the reality, that kind of stuff. And what we have really with these aspects going on between Uranus and Gemini and Saturn and Neptune over there, and it's specifically with Neptune here, between Neptune and Uranus there in Aries and Gemini. Uh, that they're locked in there for a while, and when we have these other transits that start to happen behind them, that's really where we're going to see these things that shock the reality to its core, you know. And the reason I just bring this up is I think I'm starting to see things heat up a little bit. Now I've been pretty clear that this is the last month of calm, so for any chaos that we see, we're only going to see it during the month of June here when I'm recording this. We're only going to see it ramp up going into late June into July and that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to have some type of video here to say, these things that you're feeling with the nervous system restructuring, maybe having a harder time regulating your nervous system, feeling changes within your nervous system. A lot of that is, of course, dealing with the astrology, with the energies coming in. We could even bring in the solar weather into all of this too. Uh, but really, what I noticed with all these planets crossing Uranus is it's been, especially Mercury, but there has been this nervous system restructuring that's been going on. And a big part of Chiron and Taurus, which we'll have soon here, is going to be how do we get more grounded, in our nervous system? How do we, and Taurus isn't necessarily dealing with the nervous system or anything like that, but it is dealing with your groundedness. Taurus is very grounded. I could say this because I am a Taurus. But I am getting that nervous system restructuring that's been going on recently. And I wouldn't say it's reflecting me in quite the same way because of the mental groundedness I have. My Mercury is also in Taurus, as I'm seeing it with a lot of my clients, with a lot of the people around me. But what I will say is everyone is going through this restructuring in a different type of way. And I really think with all these things that I've been bringing up, it's preparing us for what's coming. And if you're someone who's watching this, if you're someone who is into spirituality, into the deeper things, really seeing beyond this, I guess you could call it veil, or this fake reality that we live in, it feels like we're coming on a moment where the veil is about to be heavily lifted for from the eyes of people, or from the world that we're seeing. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to handle it. And I think it's up to people like us to make sure that we're able to steward these people and help them out through these times, and explain what's going on, and not from a place of, I know what's going on, it's this way. Because you could argue that's what got us into this situation, really. But giving people options, and letting people looking deeper into the things of that this life has to offer, that isn't just the material, that the consumption mentality that we all have. And this brings me back to Chiron and Taurus, of course, because we are going to have less things available to us under Chiron and Taurus. This is your resources when you're dealing with the rulerships of Taurus. And Chiron, there's going to be a wound around that that's going to be healed. So just looking at these world events, at the oil stuff that's going on, the petroleum that, that's ruled by Neptune. And, you can give it different rulerships depending on medieval and stuff. But when we're looking at a grand thing like this, I'm leaning a bit more on the modern astrology, and I get good results from that petroleum oil rulership with Neptune. And when you're looking at that rulership there, this, with it being in Aries, what are we seeing as it's moved in? Both last year, and then that was just the ingress. It retrograded back out, and then this year we're seeing wars over oil. We're seeing aggression over oil. We're seeing energy wars, essentially, is what it is. Okay, and with that, it's going to be very much tied into whatever restrictions are coming in. Saturn brings in the restrictions, especially once it starts to retrograde here. Uh, and it just seems like there is something coming up that is going to not only pull back on what we have available to us, or we're going to have what we have available to us be pulled back on, be restricted in that way because of the petroleum and how much it's used. I don't think people understand how much of even just our toiletries use petroleum, things like that. So there is that part of it too, but it's really going to make us ask ourselves. And mind you, Chiron going into Taurus here, it will retrograde back out. So it's more of a preview that we get. And I think we're just going to see this first wave of it, and then a little bit of a restructuring that goes on around it. But I won't get too into the weeds here. But what I really want to say, talking about that nervous system restructuring, if you've been feeling that nervous system restructure, if you've been kind of feeling this reorientation around things, feeling this anticipation that something is coming, you're not alone in feeling that. And, I wouldn't want you to feel alone in that, because I think when you are on this spiritual path that a lot of us are on, it's very easy to feel alone in that. It's very easy to maybe have friends around you that'll talk about it once in a while, but then sometimes they don't want to talk about it and they want to do a lot of the normie things. And, there are times where you want to disconnect, you want to have fun, you want to escape a little bit, go into the disillusionment. But, that's a lot of us can feel lonely when we have people around us that are always wanting to do that, are doing it when we're trying to talk about the deeper things, the things that are real. And so you're not alone in that feeling at all. And I think a lot of people feel something big is coming with this news we had on the Carmelo Anthony thing. This is a prediction I made just last week. And I think I was making it even before that, but that was when I was really putting it on the record, is that they really want to stoke these racial tensions. And so this is what I saw today going on, is these racial tensions being stoked, something to keep us occupied with energetically, something for us to dump and pour our energy into, and to blame one side or another. But ultimately, we all kind of know who's to blame here. And it isn't us humans or anything. They just pit us against one another, like there's a different force that's at play here. I want to stress that, a force. I think we can get trapped in these groups of people mentality, and that can be very dangerous, especially for the times coming up here. But you're not alone in that feeling at all. And I would also say just all the things that are being presented in front of you right now, both the blessings and the gifts, because we are in some good energy for the blessings and gifts right now, which would be the Venus-Jupiter conjunction, both the blessings and the gifts, but then also these limitations that keep being thrown up. And then, of course, the nervous system restructuring. All these are to prepare for what's coming in the later half of this year here, the second half of the year, I should say. Because I think a lot of things are about to change, and they're going to change in a way where there is no going back to the world that we used to live in. And it's a time of pause, rest, reflection, to really not just say goodbye, but to, I guess, cherish the things about this old world that we had, and what this new world is going to bring in, and what that requires from us in terms of remaining human, being able to tap into our humanity, to channel our humanity. What does it even mean to be human? I think a lot of these things are going to come up towards the second half of the year, and it's even the idea of this preview too, because we do have, with especially where it comes to the material stuff and how things are going to materially change. That's more of a preview that we get, and then we come fully back into it towards the beginning of next year. But yeah, I really just wanted to make this and let people know that they're not alone in the feelings that they're having, this feeling of anticipation, feeling like everything is kind of going normally right now, but why does it feel like I'm in this different energetic space? Why does it feel like I'm holding space for something that's almost yet to be birthed? I think that would be a good way to put it. And as I said, I think that if you're watching this video, you are an anchor, both energetically and in a way that is noticed by the people around you, for the people around you. And that role is going to become a lot more important. There's also a big part of the energy that we're moving into that is dealing with things locally. So, I mean, how does that come about? Is this a power outage? Is it a network outage? Is it some type of martial law with restrictions in communication? These are all kind of things that we need to ask ourselves and be ready to pivot for these things. So that's another huge thing that will be useful, is being able to pivot with world events and what's happening because of the things that are going to change. But the only reason I bring up that locality-based type of thing is, are you prepared when things are going on in your neighborhood to step up and be able to hold space for people? You don't even need to know all sorts of things about world events, but just to be able to hold space for people and allow people to know that things are going to be okay. And this is the time for us to come together. And it can sound like I'm over here talking about some crazy bad thing or some scary thing that's going to happen, but ultimately, change is always on some level a little bit scary, you know. And the change I think that's coming in is going to be really beautiful. Ultimately, I think all of our prayers for years that we have been sending up to God, to Christ, to the universe, whatever it is that you pray to or that you send that energy to, that you envision or embody as the divine. I think those are being answered, but it can't just be handed to us. It is going to come through a very scorpionic way, through the fires of transformation, through the burning down of these structures before they can be rebuilt better, reborn like a phoenix, which used to be the ruler or sign for Scorpio was the phoenix, the eagle, the phoenix. You had those things, and yeah, just the holding space. Just know right now, with whatever is going on with the nervous system, whatever weird energetic space that you feel in, where the world isn't necessarily reflecting that energetic space. This is to get you ready for other people to move into that energetic space and to be able to assist them through it, which I just think are going to be it's going to be very important during these times. And yeah, a lot that's going to be changing here. Let me, I did shuffle my tarot deck before. I didn't want to give you guys dead space of me shuffling. So let me see what we've got here. Oh, we've got the Six of Wands right here. And I think this just goes in. This is actually perfect. This goes in pretty well. Thank God I got a card that I know too really well, because that's always, it seems to be always when I'm making a video, I get a card that I know. Thank goodness. But with the Six of Wands, it's the triumph, it's the victory. It's that energy, and then this is that fire energy coming in too with the wands. It's manifestation energy. What are we bringing forth into this world? Through manifestation. Now, I even think back to what I was saying with the birthing energy. Now, of course, birthing is going to be more associated with water, but I mean, literally, that is what a birth is, but the whole idea, like how does a birth even come forth? Well, first it's through the manifestation, first it's through the passion, the fire, the connection you have with another person to create that new life. And so when we're dealing with that wands energy, though, how are we going to manifest victory through these things that unfold? Because we've got Pluto in Aquarius, one of these other big transitions. It's going to be there for 20 years roughly. And with Pluto in Aquarius, it can be power of the people, to the people, for the people, or it can be power over the people. And it really is going to depend on us and our mindset and how we move through a lot of this energy, how we navigate, how we steward people, because we're reaching this stage in life here in the society where a lot of things are going to be flipped. They're going to be inverted. The people that used to be the ones that we look towards, now we're seeing, I mean, look at things like the Epstein files. We're seeing that these people aren't people that we need to be looking up at, and they're quite the opposite of the virtuous people a lot of us thought that they were. And I'm sure many of us have been past that for years, but there's just this awakening that's going on in the broader collective, if you want to say in the normie space, to these things. And now it's actually commonplace that people are knowing about what's in the Epstein files and doing those deeper digs. I'm actually quite astonished at how many people know when I ask them about it. It's something I do when I'm out and about in public, and I can make small talk with people and then kind of bring that up, lead into that in a good way, and then in an organic way. And I'm very surprised at the different demographics that all seem to know about this. And TikTok is even a part of that. So I will credit TikTok. I think it's destroying attention spans, but I think you can really credit it to that and to some of the deep dives people have done on a lot of this stuff. So I think that's beautiful. But yeah, Six of Wands, so that's really what we're dealing with here. for the energy. So I'm really hopeful for it, but definitely know that you're not alone in the space that you're holding right now and the energy that you're feeling. And really, I think that we've got this. I mean, really, the whole thing is a lot of people want the change, but they want it to be easy. They want it to be handed to them. And then, well, what is it? What do you learn from that? We don't learn anything from that. Look how disconnected we've gotten as a society. We need to be able to connect again. This is where that locality comes in. So we're definitely on the precipice of something here. And it's something, if this is resonating with you, if it's feeling like I'm on your fractal, part of your soul group, if it were, definitely subscribe, like the video so you can get served more of it, any of that. But I've got like a little like fly that just showed up here. That's interesting. It just like went on the camera lens. But yeah, definitely. If this is resonating with you, stay tuned for other videos too, because I am an astrologer and I like to get into a lot of the energies that we're going through, moving through, and then so many times, most of the time, in fact, at least in my life, I notice the astrology lines up a lot with the energies, and we're under some of the biggest astrology in our lifetimes, if not the biggest astrology in our lifetime. I've called this not a once in a generational moment, a once in a civilizational moment. The last time we had this configuration of planets, this rarity and this intensity of these planetary transits was the collapse of the Bronze Age. Okay, so we are dealing with the type of societal collapse that's coming in, and then what is going to come in its stead. And we can have incredible things that come in its stead, in its wake. Just like we had at the collapse of the Bronze Age. It was a collapse, sure, but I would argue this is going to be even more intense, because that's just where we get close to these same alignments at the same configuration all at once. These same heavy transits and alignments. But it doesn't mean we had them exactly. It was just it's the closest that I could find going back, I don't know, like 5,000 years or so. I think I went back 8,000 years technically. But anyway, I have an upcoming video here that's going to be on the new moon in Gemini, so we can delve a little further into the astrology behind this, what we're going to see. I think this is going to be very much the completion of this nervous system restructuring here. And what we'll see around that new moon is going to really bring that into a completion moment, but then also what's going to come in around that same time. All of these moons, which is just the nature of the moon cycles too, have been compounding very well off of one another. That the new moon in Taurus that we had, the full moon in Sagittarius that we had, and then also coming in here, the new moon in Gemini. So that full moon in Sagittarius we had, I'll wrap it up here, but that full moon in Sagittarius we had, it really dealt with the belief systems. We had this nervous system restructuring going on there, and then there was a belief system thing going on. And then we're kind of dealing with the last of the mental restructuring here. We're being ready for these new beliefs to come in and for new information to come in, and our mental processes are actually wired up and ready for us to take this on and do what is required and what our purpose is going to be. For some of us, we've been waiting on a new purpose to come in, or for some of us, we've been living in our purpose and we're just going to see some pivots and adjustments to that purpose. So yeah, I hope you guys like the video. New moon video coming sometime this week. I'm guessing it'll be a separate upload. It may be my live stream. I do live streams Thursdays and Fridays. Thursday is a presentation feature event, and then Friday I do the news, call it the Astro News. So I look at the news stories of the week, put an astrological lens on it, and then just provide some commentary. Really chill stream though, nothing crazy. And but yeah, so expect that. And then I've got some other charts I'm going to be doing of countries. So I'm kind of on the fence between doing a whole new moon special, which I'll probably do, or I have a presentation ready for the astrological charts of Russia going back to like 900 CE or so, something like that. So yeah, take it easy. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if this resonates with you. Bye.